Right now it's 8 p.m. Taiwan time, and we will punctually begin the class. Auspicious greetings to everyone. I'm today's host. I'm Dharma Assistant Isha Nora from Singapore's Renjin Town. First of all, let's put our palms together reverently to pay homage to True School's lineage. Namo Mahavajrana. Namo Buddha Lochana Buddha Mother. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Namo Padma Kumara. Namo Living Buddha Liansheng. And visualize Prime Master Alu, Living Buddha Liansheng, above the top of our heads, blessing us. Form the Padma Kumara Mudra and recite the heart mantra 7 times to pray for the great lineage blessing. And the lesson today will proceed smoothly. Om Guru Liansheng Siddhi Hum. 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 Welcome everyone back to the Dharma classroom. Welcome all masters and Dharma propagators of all levels. Auspicious greetings to all. Today is the first session of the presentation segment, and there are 4 presenters. They are Lotus Xiuying on the small vehicle, great vehicle, Vajrayana, Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, and Lianhua Shengyong, who will be presenting on the meaning of faith, refuge and empowerment. Then Lotus Sholan will be presenting on faith, comprehension, practice, and realization. And the last presenter will be presenting on theory and practice. And we will invite the masters to give feedback. The 2 masters are Master Lian He and Master Lian Yu. So let me first take a look at the 4 presenters to see whether they are here already. Amitofo, Amitabha. I'm Lotus Sholan from Beizangsi, Singapore. And today the topic of my presentation is faith, comprehension, practice, and realization, these 4 characters. So what do these 4 terms refer to in True Buddha Tantric Dharma? First of all, you need to have 100% faith in your lineage root guru and True Buddha Tantric Dharma. And then you need to delve deeply into and think deeply about the teachings taught by Grandmaster and try to actualize the teachings in your daily life. And you have to exert effort in the cultivation of your own body and mind so that you can reach purity of body, speech, and mind and transform the 3 karma into the 3 secrets and attain Buddhahood in the present life. So what is faith? There are 5 kinds of faith. So the first kind is blind faith. The second kind is right faith. The third kind is wisdom faith or faith based on wisdom. 4th is pure faith. And the 5th is non-retrogressing faith. The first is blind faith. So what is blind faith? It is being ignorant about Buddha Dharma, not understanding what you are believing in and the merits of your belief. You are only praying for blessings. And so this is a secular blind faith. The second kind is the right faith. It's based on right understanding, right knowledge. So you have a correct understanding of Buddha Dharma, and you understand the true meaning of learning Buddhism. So this kind of faith is right faith. So when you have this faith, then you will proceed with understanding and comprehension. When we first begin to learn Buddhism, why would we learn Buddhism. Usually, you have all sorts of affinities that lead to the arising of your faith. So how did I start to believe in Buddhism? I also had a remarkable experience, and that's how I developed faith in Grandmaster. So one day, in my dream, Avalokiteshvara brought me to Grandmaster's tantric shrine, and it was the first time that I got to know Grandmaster. And the Bodhisattva told Grandmaster, "Now I'm handing her over to you." And then after saying that, she disappeared. From that day on, my marvelous affinity led me to go to a local chapter to begin cultivation, my spiritual cultivation. And from taking refuge to spiritual cultivation, Grandmaster has given me a lot of blessings and empowerments, teachings how to practice Dharma. I very seriously practiced, and I'm full of faith. I fully feel Grandmaster's true heart. I have deep faith in Grandmaster, and this is how my faith began. So these are the 5 kinds of faith: blind faith, right faith, wisdom faith, pure faith, and non-retrogressing faith. When we have the right faith, then we then proceed with comprehension or understanding. So this is when we start to listen to the Dharma and start to delve deeply into the teachings to learn about the true meaning of Dharma. When we fully understand it, or when we begin to develop an understanding, this allows us to practice the Dharma. So when we might not be able to understand the sutras at the very beginning, it's also not easy to understand them fully. For example, myself, the first time I encountered the Vajra Sutra, the terms inside about patient endurance, the parameter of patient endurance, etc., I wasn't able to understand. It was only after Grandmaster gave discourses on the Vajra Sutra that I fully understood it. And I realized that it's about the wisdom of shunyata, or emptiness, allowing us to increase in right understanding of Dharma, being able to go in the right direction. And then we can improve in our spiritual cultivation, free ourselves from attachments and hindrances, and cultivate or purify our own body, speech, and mind. So after we understand and comprehend, the next step would be to practice. So practice is about actually putting into practice, applying it, the actual practice of the Dharma, following the Dharma teachings of the Buddhas, and then practicing in the right sequence. So let me ask everyone, between practice and comprehension, which one is more important? The process of learning the Dharma can be divided into 5 stages: the path of accumulation, the path of preliminaries, the path of insight, the path of cultivation, and the ultimate path. So actual practice of Tripura Tantric Dharma requires us to follow and practice in sequence. And we also, that is Vajrayana. Hinayana is about practicing the 4 noble truths, and the great vehicle is about practicing the 37 factors of enlightenment. There are 3 keys to cultivation. Number 1, being focused or single-minded. So even in a very small task, we can actually transform it into cultivation by being fully focused on the task and doing it well. The second point is to be honest and upright in our thought and actions. Don't deceive ourselves and face up to our own shortcomings fully and honestly. And the third key is to persevere with determination. Our Grandmaster can be said to be number 1 in persistence. So when we practice and cultivate in a down-to-earth manner with persistence, we will definitely be able to reach accomplishment. So what is the next part? After we begin to practice, we will then proceed to realize or reach realization. When we abide in Tadatta, or true suchness, realization is the non-leakage wisdom. And do not think that actual cultivation is just about sutra chanting, reciting of Buddha epithets, Dharma practice, reciting mantras. Actually, it is about the actual application of the Dharma in our daily lives at every moment. Whether practicing Sutrayana or Tantrayana, we need to eliminate our habitual tendencies of mundane, ordinary beings, secular beings, and practice purity, pure conduct. We need to abide by the 5 precepts and practice the 10 virtuous acts or 10 virtues, and then practice non-self, practice the 6 paramitas, practice cultivation and prajna, and finally enter into shunyata or emptiness. All these stages of cultivation are part of realization. Padmasambhava has said that if you want to learn the Dharma, you have to carry out all kind deeds, even the smallest act of kindness and virtue. And we need to get rid of or seize the smallest smallest unwholesome act. So here is a dialogue between White Tara and Grandmaster in The Sword of the Yogi, the book by Grandmaster. Can you conquer your afflictions? Have your afflictions or worries decreased? If your mind gives rise to afflictions or troubles, are you able to seize it immediately? This is the accomplishment of subduing the Mara of afflictions. Is your heart able to be in a state of tranquility and peace, no matter what kind of environment or circumstance you're in, whether it's favorable or adverse? You should be able to calm your own heart so that there are no waves, and this is the accomplishment of samadhi. Number 3, are you truly honest, kind, diligent, or and practice kindness and generosity? Number 4, are you fully aware and realize impermanence? And when you encounter anything that causes you emotional suffering, are you able to bear it without feeling suffering? Number 6 is the accomplishment of not being hindered by the 5 poisons of craving, enmity, delusion, ignorance, and arrogance. Number 7 is, are you able to treat others with equanimity and non-discrimination? Are you able to regard Grandmaster or root guru as Buddha and perceive his strengths as Buddha and his shortcomings as Dharma teachings? Number 8 is the accomplishment of non-arising of discursive thoughts. Number 9 is are you eternally abiding in lucid awareness or insight? Number 10, are you able to forget when thoughts arise? In that very moment, are you able to accomplish non-thought? So Grandmaster has taught disciples how to use these 4 things, faith, comprehension, practice, and realization, to verify the remarkable, extraordinary nature of True Buddha Tantric Dharma. And when we are perfect in both insight and practice or conduct, then one is a Buddha. This is the accomplishment that arises from honoring our guru, cherishing the Dharma, and actual practice. When we change in our own cultivation, when we transform ourselves, this is actually improvement in our spiritual cultivation. When we actually practice the Dharma in our daily lives and you purify your own body, speech, and mind, and then we can move towards or progress towards attainment of Buddhahood in the present life. The above is my presentation on the 4 elements of faith, comprehension, practice, and realization. I wish everyone success in cultivation. Thank you, everyone. Amitabha Buddha. So D. Nora says, oh, great time management. You have perfect 20 minutes. The next presenter is Lianhua Shenyong, who will be presenting on the meaning of refuge, faith, refuge, and empowerment. Are you able to hear my voice? Amitabha, everyone. I'm Lotus Shenyong from Taiwan. The topic of my presentation today is the meaning of faith, refuge, and empowerment. Before I begin my presentation, let us first pay homage wholeheartedly to our lineage guru, the living Buddha Yenshen. Dear masters and all Dhamma propagators, good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is the first time I'm meeting everyone online and presenting, and I feel very honored and happy. Here, I would like to first thank True Buddha Dharma Classroom Master Lianhe and all those present today enabling me to present. So the presentation time is very precious, so I will begin my presentation now. The 3 important points that I will speak about are, although they are the most basic, but they are also very important. These 3 points are, if we connect them, the beginning mind, our motivation of learning Dharma, it can motivate us to be diligent in our practice without slackening, and to verify Prayer Master's Dharma teachings. And it will allow us to improve our spiritual state. Most people live in this world and they are chasing material pursuits or form. They are attached to, they have a lot of attachments which give rise to emotional afflictions and suffering. Then one day when they realize impermanence, they will need to rely on faith to pursue a form of spiritual reliance or spiritual objective or goal. So faith will give rise to an invisible strength and power. Correct faith or right faith can help us to correct our own speech and actions. And it can increase our morals, our virtues, our spiritual states. So faith can be divided into right faith and blind faith. Those who pray to deities for fame or wealth or gain or blessings, longevity, or even supernatural powers, if they can't attain these, and then they will not continue their practice, then this is blind faith, faith that is based it's based on spiritual values or thinking. It's superstitious or blind faith. It will lead to blind worshiping, and it will just lead us to continue to pursue the secular, the worldly, and give rise to a lot of emotional afflictions and troubles. Some people even treat faith as a way to expand their social influence or to get to meet friends. They are only practicing the form of spiritual cultivation, but they are not actually engaging in it. So they are only practicing superficially. There are also those who, although they enshrine the idols at home, statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they light incense and then they pray for peace and they change the offerings. This is also a kind of superficial faith. Some people, they attend Buddhist talks to try to understand the meaning of sutras. Some of them, when they listen to the Dharma, they go in and listen, and they keep nodding their heads. But their nodding their heads can be divided into two kinds. One is nodding off into sleep, and the other one is nodding in agreement because because the preacher's sermon can resonate with them. So when you listen to somebody teaching and then another person asks them, what do you think of what the preacher just said or the Dharma teacher just said? And if the person can't explain it, then it's not true spiritual cultivation. Because you haven't developed your own inner wisdom, you haven't awakened your own innate wisdom. So on the contrary, right faith is about wanting to understand the true meaning of life, of human life. We want to understand its true meaning. And it's about moving towards wisdom so that we can transcend our life and death, overcome our afflictions, develop our innate wisdom so that we can see our own Buddha nature. This is right faith. Let's look at the next page. Faith is the beginning of everything. It's the basis of the path. The mother of virtues, nourishing and growing all good ways, cutting away the net of doubts, revealing the unsurpassed road to enlightenment. There is a line in Buddhist sutras. Buddha Dharma is as deep as the ocean, and only faith can allow us to enter. It is the beginning point or the entry point for our spiritual cultivation. Now let's talk about the second important point, the meaning of refuge. Refuge refers to reliance and salvation. We need to rely on our living Buddha Liansheng's or our root guru's teachings and take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. There is also the fourfold refuge, which is the refuge in our Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And he teaches us how to transcend life and death. So when we follow his teachings, we will not stray from the path. So he has demonstrated the teachings. We take refuge in Buddha because he is a great enlightened one. So when we take refuge in Buddha and learn from the Buddha, then we will not go wrong. Dharma refers to the principles that Buddha has awakened to. When we follow what Grandmaster teaches, the Dharma teachings, we'll be able to reach that enlightened state. Refuge in the Sangha refers to taking refuge in holy, virtuous ones, and we rely on them as guides on our spiritual cultivation. We can gradually clear away our karmic hindrances, not fall into the lower paths, and increase in our blessings, and eventually attain enlightenment. What is empowerment? This is the beginning of becoming Buddha. You are preparing to become someone, a holy sage who transcends the secular. You have to first become enlightened, and then you will be able to benefit other people. It's a noble and sacred ritual. And when we receive empowerment, we'll truly become the disciples. After we receive empowerment, our body, speech, and mind becomes that the body, speech, and mind of Buddhas. Although we have not become Buddhas, we are Buddha to be. There are three meanings to empowerment. So the first one is purification, which is clearing away our karmic hindrances from the past. During the moment of empowerment, it is the beginning of the purity of our body, speech, and mind. The second meaning is empowerment or blessing, which is our lineage guru putting his Dharma power from his spiritual cultivation and empowering the disciple, empowering it has inconceivable power. All of our merit as disciples originate from our lineage guru. The third kind of meaning is Shotzi, which is assurance or prediction of Buddhahood. And this is the most important meaning of empowerment, which is about the consciousness of Buddhas and the seeds of Buddhahood are being placed into the practitioner or the cultivator's body. So we are assured of accomplishment of Buddhahood. So this is very precious. Empowerment it also means giving us permission to practice the Dharma. So when we have the affinity to enter Vajrayana and practice Dharma, we need to receive empowerment. We need to first take refuge and then receive empowerment, which is very important because if we don't receive empowerment and we practice the Dharma, then this is not in accord with Dharma because it means that we are sealing Dharma. So this is also a very important significance of empowerment. As long as we have right faith, and with the salvation of our lineage guru and his guidance, and we have very steadfast faith and persistence, perseverance, there is no way that we cannot succeed. So a very key or important element is pure faith, 100% faith in our guru without the slightest thread of doubt, not even 0.01%. You need to have 100% faith to it in order to learn the Tantric Dharma. And only then from faith to taking refuge to receiving empowerment can we reap the full benefits. And that is my presentation for today. Thank you for listening and wishing everyone auspiciousness. Amitofo, Amitabha, everyone. Thank you, Lotus. Shangyong, you actually have 4 minutes sharing with everyone. And now let us invite Lotus Show Ing to present on the small vehicle, the great vehicle, the diamond vehicle, or Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. Okay, let me now share my slides. Amitabha, everyone. I am Lotus Shoying, or other people call me DA Ma or Ma Chuxiao. I'm from Calgary, Canada. The topic of my presentation is Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. As you can hear, my Chinese is not so accurate, so please forgive or bear with me. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. And today I will give a brief introduction to okay, so dear Nora is reminding Lotus, showing that she's not sharing her PPT slides yet. Okay, yes, we can see it now. Okay, so the backend support staff will help to share the slides. So Lotus showing can just focus on their presentation. So the topic of my presentation today is about Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. So these are the three vehicles of the Dharma. So the Dharma spread to different regions and evolved due to the differences in various cultures. Today, I'll give a brief introduction to how these three vehicles arose, what are the fruitions or accomplishments from cultivating the different vehicles, methods of cultivation, and provide a conclusion. So vehicle refers to being able to transport sentient beings from the shore of life and death to the shore of nirvana. So the analogy is, the metaphor is of vehicle. So in the beginning in ancient India, there was no distinction between the different vehicles. The Buddha taught depending on the capacities of sentient beings. And people followed the teachings rigorously, so there wasn't much change when the Buddha just passed into nirvana. But when the Dharma started to spread to different regions, and different regions had different languages and cultures, they had different interpretations of the Dharma, and then different practices arose. So after some time, the Buddhism separated into two parts. One is Hinayana and the other one is Mahayana. So Hinayana is mostly spread southward, and it's usually in Pali. So that's Theravadan Buddhism. The other branch or Mahayana branch was when Buddhism spread north, and it's mainly in Chinese or Sanskrit-based Buddhism, and it later developed into it was also known as the Bodhisattva path or Bodhisattva vehicle. The sutras are mainly in Chinese, or if they're in Sanskrit, then it became known as Tibetan Buddhism. and developed into Vajrayana. Tibetan Buddhism has many parts that are not openly revealed. So the small vehicle Hinayana branch, you can accomplish Shravakayana, sound hearers, or Pratyeka Buddha, solitary realizers. The accomplishment of these two, they are focused primarily on self-cultivation and ending of one's own afflictions, or they are not so concerned with delivering other people. So you can become a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha if you practice Hinayana, and it mainly spread to countries in Asia such as Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Laos, Cambodia. So Shravakayana or Shravaka is one of the accomplishments or levels of accomplishments by practicing Hinayana, Theravada Buddhism. When they listen to the Buddha's teachings and they practice the teachings, they practice the Four Noble Truths to break free from the attachment to self and to emotional afflictions, to liberate themselves from the three lower paths and the cycle of life and death. So because somebody else will be talking about the Four Noble Truths, so I will not go into these today. The four levels of awakening by practicing the Hinayana vehicle, the small vehicle, would be Shraddhapana, the stream enterer, Sakadagami, one's returner, Anagami, non-returner, and Arhat, worthy one, the fourth level. So Shraddhapana is when they have just entered the stream, or they still have certain emotional afflictions, but they will no longer fall into the evil paths, and they will realize they will become arhats after a certain amount of time. But once returner will still need to return to human life one more time. They have not fully eliminated their emotional afflictions and only have cultivated to a certain level. And the next level up would be anagami or non-returner. And they will no longer return to the realm of form. And the fourth level would be arhat, worthy one. And they have eliminated all their passions or emotional afflictions. They are worthy of receiving offerings from humans and devas. And the other accomplishment from practicing the Hinayana path is Prayaka Buddha. They practice the 12 nidanas, or the 12 links of dependent origination. And they attain enlightenment from listening to and actualizing cultivation of the 12 nidanas. So that's the first kind of solitary realizer or Prayaka Buddha. The other kind is that they are born in a realm without Buddhas, and based on their wisdom from multiple lifetimes, when they observe external phenomena, the arising and cessation, and they become enlightened on their own without any guidance or teachers, and they realize enlightenment on their own. The 12 links of dependent origination are 12 chains. So from ignorance, it gives rise to impulses or actions, and then it gives rise to consciousness. Because ignorance is the root, if we can address that, then we can begin the cultivation of our precepts, meditation, meditative stability, and wisdom. So because somebody else will be presenting on the 3 non-outflows, so I'll not go further into that. Mahayana is also known as the Bodhisattva's vehicle, and they practice the 6 parameters: generosity, precepts, patient endurance, diligence, samadhi, wisdom, and they widely deliver sentient beings. So that the sentient being can also become bodhisattvas, and then only after they have delivered others, then they will become Buddhas themselves. So on the 28th of December, 2 other Dharma propagators will be introducing the 6 parameters. And then it mostly spread to China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam. So there are many branches that are Mahayana based. So the Pure Land sect, Tiantai sect, Huayan sect, etc. Vajrayana Buddhism is also known as Tantric Buddhism, and these are secret practices that lead to enlightenment. And thereafter, they, like Mahayana Buddhists or practitioners, they will help sentient beings to attain liberation. Vajrayana allows practitioners to attain Buddhahood in the present body. By practicing purity of body, speech, and mind, they can transform the 3 karmas into 3 secrets, where a person's body, speech, and mind is completely one with that of Tathagatas or Buddhas, and humans can accomplish Buddhahood. Cultivation begins from from generation stage practices to completion stage practices to the accomplishment of liberation. And the stages of cultivation are very clear. Vajrayana places great emphasis on 3 roots. The first is our lineage root guru, the most important, who is the root of empowerment. Then number 2 is our root Idam, the root of accomplishment. And number 3, our root Dharma protector is the root of our endeavors. A spiritual cultivator has only one lineage root guru that one will serve entire life without seconding. A cultivator has alliance with the 3 roots, and if there are any shortcomings in cultivation, we will lose the power of lineage. And if there is anything that is not in accord with Dharma, then it's possible for practitioners to have committed the Samaya transgressions, violations of Samaya. It emphasizes sadhanas, Dharma practices, and tantras. And it spread to Tibet, Mongolia, Nepal, India, and other regions. There's Tibetan Buddhism, there's also Chinese Buddhism, and then there's also Dongmi, which is Shingon Buddhism. These are branches of Tantric Buddhism. So now let's do a conclusion or a summary. So the small vehicle is the second column. And there are 2 kinds of accomplishment. You can become a Shravaka or Prayaka Buddha. And there are 4 levels of accomplishment in Shravaka Yana. So a once returner, a stream enterer, a once returner, a non-returner, and an arhat, or worthy one. And it's also known as Nanchuan Fojiao, which translates to Buddhism which spread south. Mahayana is the 3rd column from the left. The accomplishment from practicing Mahayana is Bodhisattvas. They practice the 6 paramitas, and it's also known as the Buddhism that spread north. So it spread to China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and there are many branches that are considered Mahayana, such as the Pure Land sect, Tiantai sect, Weishu, which is Yogacara, Huayan sect, Lu Yizhong's Vinaya school, Rulianzhong Zen Buddhism. And then there is Vajrayana, which is the 4th column from the left. It can allow a person to become, to attain Buddhahood in the present body, in the present lifetime. The way they practice is the purification of body, speech, and mind. And it's also known as Beichuan Fojiao, which is the Buddhism that spread north. So it's spread into areas such as Tibet, Mongolia, Nepal, and even Russia. And there are the sects that are, or traditions that are Vajrayana, are Tibetan esoteric Buddhism, Chinese esoteric Buddhism, Dongmi, which is Shingon Buddhism. Okay, and with that, I end my presentation. Okay, thank you, Lotus, showing it's perfect timing, it's 20 minutes exactly. And now let's invite the 4th presenter, who will be presenting on the 2 doorways of theory and practice. Let's first pay homage to our lineage root guru, Living Buddha Liansheng, the lineage gurus of True Buddha School, the Triple Gem. Om. Today, the topic of my presentation is about the two doorways of theory and practice. So True Buddha School disciples should understand karmic cause and effect, reincarnation, the Four Noble Truths, the Five Precepts, the 10 Virtuous Acts, the 3 non-outflows of precepts, meditative stability and wisdom, the 6 parameters, etc., and understand that all conditioned phenomena in the world, they arise, they abide, they deteriorate, and they become empty. They are illusory, and the temporary combination of various affinities and aggregates. So practitioners should first enter from theory. Some people read sutras and they truly merge with the sutra and there's Dhamma flavor. When they open the sutras, they will also see Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They will intuit the truths of the universe. What is practice? Entering through practice. It is the actual practice of True Buddha Tantric Dharma. So precepts, abiding by precepts, practicing meditation, the cultivation of qi channels and light drops. And when they cultivate this in sequence, among the 10 great disciples of the Buddha, Kashyapa was the first to attain accomplishment, and Ananda was the last. So the Buddha taught his disciples that hearing a lot of Dharma is not as good as actual practice. So a lot of practices is not as good as delving deeply into or being accomplished in one Dharma. So learning Buddhism is not in vastness, but it's more about delving deeply into one doorway to arrive at great accomplishment, which is when you attain accomplishment or yogic response in one dharma, then you attain yogic accomplishment in myriad dharma. Some people practice blindly, so we need to have the right direction in order to reach accomplishment and success. We need to have a clear goal and the correct goal so that we can reach accomplishment. If people just practice blindly without good understanding or correct understanding, then they will, a lot of emotional afflictions will arise in their cultivation. Only when one realizes shunyata, the sixth patriarch, Huineng, was actually illiterate, but when he heard what the fifth patriarch taught, and he became enlightened. So when we delve deeply into one practice and attain yogic union, then we can reach accomplishment in all the other practices. Some people, if there's only theoretical knowledge, but they don't practice, then it will give rise to an increase in heretical views or wrong views. So some people read a lot of Buddhist sutras and they hear a lot of doctrine and they think that they are practicing and learning Dharma, and they don't need to abide by precepts or practice meditation, or this is having doctrine or having theory but not practice. So there was a monk, Yun Guang, who taught that mirrored Dhamma arise from the heart. And even devas came to scatter flowers to praise him. But when the flowers fell to the ground, they all turned into stones. And in the stones, there were flowers. Because he did not cultivate precepts and he drank alcohol and ate meat, although he knew the concept of or the theory of emptiness, but because he didn't have enough, he didn't have actual cultivation and he couldn't actually become empty, his karma still existed. So when he actually died, he actually fell into the animal realm, became an ox, and he was in great suffering. There is also, so it's important to balance both comprehension and practice. So here's a story. One time when the Buddha was preaching Dharma, there was a girl who was sitting by the Buddha and also entered Samadhi. So Manjushri asked, why is this girl able to sit by your side and enter Samadhi, and I, who am the foremost in wisdom, am not able to do so? The Buddha replied, why don't you draw her out from her meditation and go and ask her yourself? So Manjushri did so, and Manjushri tried different means, but he was not able to draw the girl or the woman from her meditation. And the Buddha said, even if there are myriad or hundreds of thousands of Manjushri bodhisattvas, you will not be able to draw her out from her samadhi. If you want her to come out from samadhi, there is only a bodhisattva, Wang Ming Bodhisattva, who can do so. And not long after, this bodhisattva came out from the earth, and after paying homage to the Buddha, and with a snap of his fingers, this girl immediately came out from samadhi. Samadhi is being unmoved by external circumstances, and although Manjushri has prajna wisdom, it's also not able to move the woman from her samadhi. We cannot belittle the power of ignorance and afflictions. Any single sentence can cause you great joy, but it can also cause you suffering. Any little matter can cause you great happiness, and it can also aggravate you and make you very unhappy. If you're not able to to control yourself and remedy it, and you're controlled by others, then it means that you have not really reached perfection in both theory and practice, and you have insufficient power in your meditation. So there is a saying that goes, when a thought of enmity arises, 100 myriad doors of obstacles will open. So here's another story about Shudana, and also a poor woman. There are 5 stages of spiritual cultivation: the path of accumulation, the path of preliminaries preparation, the path of insight, the path of cultivation, and the ultimate path. So the first path of accumulation is about accumulating all good deeds and accumulating merit, virtues, merit. So you practice the Brahma Viharas, and you practice generosity and giving. You refrain from doing evil acts, and you carry out all good deeds. These are resources for our cultivation. You can help other people and say good things. This is all part of the path of accumulation. And when you reach perfection in this path, then you will proceed to the path of preliminaries, where you need to pay homage and to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and overcome arrogance and repent to remove our karmic hindrances. We take refuge and we have steadfast cultivation. So when we perfect this path of preliminaries, and then you arrive at the next path, which is the path of insight, where you're able to address your 5 poisons and transform them. You can see your own Buddha nature. You will become enlightened, and it will lead to the path of cultivation, where you actually practice non-self, non-attachment, no mind, non-abiding, and then it's only after insight that you actually start your spiritual cultivation. Don't think that you are very great. Once you have started your cultivation, you need to have a mind of equanimity and help other people, without asking for anything in return or praying for anything. You need to be able to practice the emptiness of the 3 wheels to transform conditioned practice to unconditioned practice. Bodhisattvas are those who, although they have realized non-arising, they will still try their best to help sentient beings who have not yet realized this. And when they are with sentient beings, they will be able to see the sentient beings' various capacities and help them to also reach spiritual accomplishment. We need to know that one's heart, mind, Buddha, and sentient beings are one. Each sentient being has inherent Buddha nature, and all Buddha Dharma are also conditioned Dharma. So, as the Vajra Sutra says, all conditioned phenomena are like dreams, bubbles, 梦幻泡影 dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, and we should view them as such. Our Grandmaster's blessing, or the blessing of our lineage guru, is the key to our spiritual cultivation success in our spiritual cultivation. A true cultivator just needs to focus on our Grandmaster's teachings and put the Dharma teachings into actual practice and put in diligent effort. They will be able to merge and attain yogic union with our root guru and be able to validate the Dharma. So from there, you can see that the Dharma is actually logical. And apply the Dharma to human life. To make it better. Thank you, Lineage Root Guru, for his valuable teachings and lineage blessing. Thank you all masters and various Dharma propagators of different levels, all support staff. Thank you, Om Coalition City Home. Okay, thank you for your presentation and thank you to all four presenters. We can see that you've put in a lot of effort into preparing your presentations and they all have great time management. Now we will invite Master Lian He to provide feedback and encouragement. Thank you, dear Nora. Let's first invite Master Lian Yi to provide feedback. After hearing the four presenters, I feel that the most important is that I feel it's important to have both stories as well as theory. So among the four, I only heard the fourth presenter, including stories or anecdotes in the teachings. Because without stories, it's very hard for listeners to give rise to develop feelings. So in my own lectures, I would include a lot of stories So the first presenter, Lianhua Shoulan, in the content, in terms of content, it was very rich, and expression can be strengthened. In terms of body language, I feel that just be natural. Time management was great. In conclusion, the conclusion doesn't need to be very long. You can just mention the key points. It's like after having the main course, you are having the dessert. So just say one sentence and people will feel something from that. Do I need to give a score? So Master Lianhe says, no need to give a score. We just need to give feedback. I don't have their presentations, and so I'm just purely sharing my thoughts on their presentations, what I heard just now. Maslian has says that's sufficient. So all those were very good feedback. All the points for improvement. So Master Lian Yi continues and says that all the presenters provided very good information, good content, and there will be pressure, but if you're comfortable, you will become more relaxed in your presentation, and a very natural presentation is the most ideal. So there are many stories that can be strengthened or added. For instance, stories about the lineage gurus, the listeners. It'll be easier for them to absorb. It wouldn't be so abstract. So we don't need to have too much doctrine. So for instance, the concept of faith, we can share some stories to explain faith. Faith in your guru, faith in True Tantric Dharma, faith in oneself. Then you can use some stories to present, and then that would actually improve the presentation. Also, the Fourfold Refuge. Upton Tarazi, our Grandmaster's guru, he often emphasized one refuge or wholehearted refuge. And then you can add a story there. So it will be more attractive for the listeners or the audience. For Lianhua showing gradually, you'll be able to learn to be more smooth and fluent in your presentation. Sometimes it's difficult to it's also very rich in content and there's a lot of theory. But actually, if you add some stories, it will be better. And in terms of body language, it's not just about reading the slides. Treat it like you're sharing with other people. After you prepare your presentation, you need to have to practice every day so that you can integrate these theories into your own heart so that you can present them very naturally. Otherwise, it's very difficult to convey a sense of relaxed feeling or I uh I think the most ideal is the fourth presenter who included stories um in her presentation, but the conclusion was a bit too lengthy. So he felt Maslany says that he feels he feels that she managed to wrap the content very well with stories and stuff, but the conclusion was just too long. It's like you can't just have one sentence. For instance, the way Maslany did it would be like you can live like a light so that um people might borrow your light to work out the darkness. So it's like the dessert after a main course, the dessert is the most delicious. Um, and your presentation will be very flavorful. So this is my simple sharing with everyone. Okay. Is that okay, Masalian? Thank you, Masalian Yi, for your great feedback. I'm sure everyone has benefited. I see a lot of people nodding. That's very good. Let me add a few lines. First of all, let me congratulate all four presenters. You're all excellent. You're prepared with a lot of effort. I can see that you put in a lot of effort. You have good understanding of your content. All your presentations look very good with clear flow and logic. So put a lot of effort. It's very good. So let's first talk about the Lotus Sholan's presentation on faith, comprehension, practice, and realization. Feeling is that you're a little nervous, right? I looked at you, but you never looked at me. You just looked at the screen, your screen. So can tell you're a little nervous. And there was actually a shadow on your screen. So this is a technical issue and you only noticed it later. So so the screen would also the way the presentation of your slides would also influence how others perceive your presentation. So there are some good points in your presentation. You actually shared your own personal experience, and I thumbs up for that. That's the best way of sharing. And number two, you have a great voice. You spoke very clearly, and you also had a conclusion. So your structure was great. Areas of improvement. One is the technical issue about the shadow on your screen. And the second, well, in general, all four presenters uh, you were all concerned with your own presentation, but there was little interaction with other people. Uh, you, it's like that was like, I just do as I please, and there's like, it's okay, you go do whatever you want. But as a good presenter or Dharma propagator, you need to be able to engage your audience, look at other people, look at the audience, and then if you tell a joke and everybody laughs, then you know that your heart is linked to your audience hearts. Now I have to look at my notes. But after I finish looking at the notes, I will look at the screen. And at this point, I am looking at you. I'm looking at the audience. When I look at you, then my words will reach your hearts. It conveys my regarding you as important. So this is a point that all of you can practice. As for Lotus Shangyong, about the meaning of faith, refuge, and empowerment. You are the only one who had a little bit of engagement with everyone at the very beginning of your presentation, and you even thanked Master Lian He from the education department. I wouldn't give you an even more points just because you thanked me. So everyone can see that when um, it, it's only fun and interesting if I'm interacting with you, because otherwise it's not it people might fall asleep while listening, or they might go and do other stuff. So but when I look at the audience, and then there's it will give rise to a good atmosphere, and people will be interested. You're the only one who shared a joke. What is the meaning of nodding? One is nodding into sleep, nodding off into falling asleep, or uh nodding in agreement. So this is very good. Thumbs up for that, for the inclusion of humor. And you also spoke very clearly. Taiwanese Chinese is very good. Your PPT was also excellent. Areas of improvement would be, most of the time you're looking down, so you can also look up and interact more with the audience. And next, stories. Not many stories, so you can include some interesting anecdotes. And also when you are speaking, somebody was taking photos next to you, right? Of course, it's great to leave a souvenir, but when you're giving your presentation, suddenly somebody appears behind you to take a photograph. That's a little, what is this called? Uh, Regardless, it's like suddenly it's very disconcerting. And then what was missing was you're missing a conclusion, like Master Amy said. You should leave everyone with a great lasting impression, final impression. As for DA Showing, who spoke about Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, and the last two presenters both felt that they have a problem or issue with a Cantonese accent, but actually we could all understand you very clearly. There was no issue. And what was great about your presentation, your presentation slides were organized very well. The content was very clear. The summary was also very good. Areas of improvement. Probably because somebody else was playing the slides for you. So your speech or explanation was not in tandem with the slides. So, so sometimes we will be a little confused. We need to, we need to try to figure out what you're saying. But well, the good part of that is that it prevents us from falling asleep. But it's best when the presenter is speaking, it's in tandem with the slides. Then it would help the audience to have more greater clarity and understanding. What was missing from all our presenters was there was a lack of body language. You can't even put a photo of yourself there and it will be sufficient. After all, you're not moving. There are no hand gestures. There was not much expression. So it's almost, if you put a photo of yourself there, that would also work. So because when the audience listens, they will only receive 30% of that information, but if there is body language, it will contribute to 70% of the expression of that content. You can also increase or add in stories or anecdotes. The fourth, 莲花, Li Chen. Actually, you have a nice voice. It's very comfortable to listen to. You don't have to worry about your accent. Just relax and speak. And we can see that you have tried very hard or very seriously in your practice because you read the whole presentation very smoothly or fluently. The stories that you shared were also very great. Like you shared the most stories, or areas of improvement. A presentation technique is that usually the presenter will not put all your content on the slides. So it will feel as though you're reading off the slides and we're just watching you read the slides. So it's like we're reading a textbook. So PowerPoint slides have a function. One is the PowerPoint slides for the audience, and then you actually have a note section that the speaker can see, but the audience can see. So yeah, so that's one way. And you can also make it more conversational. So presentations need to be more conversational. It should be more colloquial, relaxed, so that it's easier for people to absorb. It will feel as though someone is speaking to me instead of someone is reading a textbook to me. Your second story is missing a point about why is Wang Ming Bodhisattva able to cause the girl or the lady to come out from samadhi, emerge from samadhi. In conclusion, I'm also going to do a conclusion. Everyone was putting a lot of effort, putting a lot of effort into making your presentation, compiling the information. In terms of theory, if you're talking about in terms of the two doorways of theory and practice, the theory was all great, but the practical part is not as good. That natural, at ease, body language, it's understandable. It's maybe one of the first time that you're presenting and you might be a bit nervous, like you're being assessed. But in the future, when you are giving a Dharma discourse or sharing with other people, you need to be relaxed. You need to develop that your skill of expression, your body language. I haven't yet seen anyone shine on stage. I feel as though everybody is trying to sit for an examination. You need to be full of emotion. The words need to reach the audience's hearts, then they will feel that you're an excellent Dharma propagator. So I hope that everyone can reach a breakthrough in all these points. Amitofo. Look forward to everyone's progress. Thank you, Master Lianhe. Thank you for your feedback. They're all very constructive, and thank you both for your encouragement to the students. I'm sure other prospective DI, after hearing the master's feedback, will improve and be even better in their presentations. I'm sure they will definitely improve. I look forward to other people's presentations. Now it's 9:40, so our lesson today has reached its conclusion. There'll be 4 other people presenting next week about the 37 factors of enlightenment, the Eightfold Noble Path, getting to know true Buddha school. We need to thank the guiding masters and all the presenters and all the support staff, front and backstage.